Hello there, Booktube. So this is my new channel, which I'm using in order to separate out my content. So this is for Bookish only videos. And I thought I would start my new Booktube channel with the Behind the Booktube tag. Because why not start a Booktube channel with a traditional Booktube tag? It makes it feel like it belongs, don't you agree? So, I've got the prompts in front of me. I'm going to have a little scroll through. Right. This was created by Shelly Swearingen. Is it Swearingen or Swearingen? I'm not sure how to pronounce that surname, but I'll have the channel linked below anyway. Created by Shelly. Channel linked below. And I've not been tagged in it, but I did see Steve Donoghue's video, because I do watch Steve Donoghue, and I'll link his video as well, because, well, why not? May as well give him the credit that he deserves. He did introduce me to the tag. So, yeah. Here are the prompts. Starting to go along, let's get straight into the video. What has surprised you the most about Booktube, both in a good way and in a bad way? Okay. So, in a good way, Booktube is way broader than I thought. When I first started Booktube, this was, 3 years ago now. It was 2020. It was just, it's actually more than 3 years now. It was spring 2020, and it was after COVID had really set in, and I was bored, and I had limited social interactions. And I ended up finding through various different channels. Now, the pathway I was going through is, I've played role-playing games and tabletop RPGs for a while. And I've also been involved in things like HEMA and historical reenactments. So I naturally ended up finding the channel Shadiversity. Now, Shadiversity is a great channel, but it's not a Booktube channel. He did, however, write a fantasy novel. And that was interesting, and I ended up finding a review of that fantasy novel by Daniel Green. That was my introduction to the first Booktube channel. From there, I ended up seeing a couple of Daniel Green videos, and then a video by Murphy Napier. So Daniel Green and Murphy Napier were the two channels that I really got introduced to through Booktube. And they're fairly big fantasy booktubers. So that was my introduction to Booktube. And I realised, okay, this Booktube thing sounds cool. I looked at a few others, and a couple of other channels popped up. Mike's Book Reviews and Library of Alexandria quickly popped up shortly after that. Little did I know that Library of Alexandria had only recently started making videos, so he was a fairly new channel at the time. And I think Mike's Book Reviews wasn't that old of a channel either. I think he was only like maybe 6 months old or something like that as a channel. So these channels were popping up around the same time that I happened to be looking for them. But then I started Googling Booktube, and because most of the big fantasy channels that you think about when you think of fantasy Booktube were not really established yet, what popped up were loads and loads and loads of YA Booktubers reading nothing but YA fantasy romance, and it was all the Californian teen girl demographic, although they were all like women in the late 20s. So I got this very weird perception of Booktube, that it was all this one thing, and the fantasy had just eked its way in. And that did seem like how it was from the outset. But it's not actually what Booktube's like. That's what the top layer of Booktube is. Underneath, there's loads and loads and loads of channels, hundreds of Booktube channels, that all have like 1,000 subscribers, if that. And some of them have been going for a decade or more. Some cover classics, some cover horror novels, some cover comic books, some cover manga. The manga side can kind of like break away into its own subculture, which actually explodes much bigger. Like, those channels can end up with hundreds of thousands of subs, depending on where exactly they fall in the subculture. But Booktube is much, much more open and different than you expect. It's just that most of the channels are absolutely tiny. So that was the good thing I discovered, is there is way, way more out there. The bad thing that I discovered is that whilst there's loads and loads of different channels about pretty much every topic, pretty much every single one of them is a left-wing channel. I've made a video about, it's one of my most popular videos, the extremist political issues with Booktube. I'll post a link to it. It's on my original channel. And yeah, that was a problem for a long, long time. It still is really a problem. Like, I've had people reach out to me, and I've had loads of nice comments on that video telling me that that they also see that there's just no conservative voices, no right-wing voices, not even any real centrist voices on Booktube. It's all very left-wing all the time. So yeah, that's the thing that surprised me about Booktube, both in a good and in a bad way. 2. How do you balance reading and Booktube with the rest of your life? I don't. If you hadn't noticed, the last few weeks especially, I have not been balancing anything. I've basically stopped making regular videos for the last few weeks because I've had other projects on. I've been doing a lot of writing, so I've been concentrating on my writing projects, and I've had a few health issues. So my YouTube channel has kind of fallen by the wayside, but it's given me a good excuse to set up these new channels, which I'm hoping I can get off the ground and start making regular content for. But I haven't been balancing reading or Booktube at all. I've barely picked up books in months at this point. I struggle to balance any of my time. I have quite severe ADHD, and it does mean that, especially when I'm not medicated, I should be on quite a high dose of medication to help me with organisation. When I'm not medicated, I can't organise my time at all. Thankfully, I'm medicated again. I'm on the correct medication, the correct doses, and it's helping me massively. Like the last week or so, I've seen a marked improvement in everything. So I think that I'm on the mend, as it were, and I should be able to get back into a routine. One of the things that helps with Booktube and with reading in general is make time for something. You make time for something and do it at the same time every day. If you do that, it becomes a routine. And what you need to do is you need to make sure you make that time sacred. Because if you stop doing something, you will fill that time with other things. And you'll be surprised how quickly you fill that time with nonsense. And then you find you don't have time anymore. Like, I stopped reading regularly, at the end of June. And I basically haven't found the time to read since. And it was all because I was doing the whole June on the Range reading westerns, and I read some westerns, and then I didn't have anything to follow that up with straight away. And I had other things on. I started doing writing. I was working on those projects. I was ill. I filled my time with other things, and then when those things stopped, I didn't have the reading to fill that time slot with, so I filled it with any old crap. And before you know what's going on, you're not filling the time with anything productive or useful, you're just filling it with nonsense. Like, you'll find you're filling it with scrolling through social media, or pottering around the house, or watching random stuff on TV. It doesn't matter what it is you're filling it with, it's not useful time. So that's the big bit of advice I'd give there. But yeah, I really don't balance. I wish I did. Question 3. Have you ever thought about starting Patreon? I haven't just thought about it, I have started a Patreon. I have a Patreon. It's been going for best part of a year at this point, I think. And I have 8 patrons through Patreon, I believe. And it's the same 8 people that have been my patrons for at least 6 months. I list them at the end of each video, except the current batch of videos I've been making on my phone because I've not been editing them. But I've been listing those in the video. There's also a couple of other people who have been supporting me through Gilded, which is similar to Patreon in the way it can pay out. So those names are also added in. Yeah, I think as a total there's about a dozen people who support this channel and other things I do. It's not just this channel. What I do is I run my Patreon as a Patreon for what I call excessive detail, which is this booktube channel, my gaming channel, my tabletop channel, my community online, which is like a chat community, as well as my D&D games, my other tabletop games, anything that I'm doing as part of a community thing. So, if, for example, everyone involved is really excited to play loads and loads of tabletop RPGs, I'll spend my time running tabletop RPGs with them, if that's what they want to do. If no one wants to play tabletop RPGs, and they instead want me to run a book club, I'll run a book club and we'll do read-alongs and I'll make booktube channel content. I'll do the things that people want to do because I'm not interested in a parasocial relationship, I'm interested in a relationship. I'm interested in friendships and a community. So I'm going to do the thing that people want to do. Now that doesn't mean that you're paying me off to do the thing you pick. That means that these are all my hobbies and I want to do them all. And I'm going to prioritise the thing that other people want to do. Because if I've got people to play D&D with, I'll play D&D. If I've got people to play video games with, I'll play video games. If I've got people to read books with and do like bookish challenges and read-alongs with, I'll read books. It will depend on where the community lies. I want to do all of them. I don't have time to do everything. So I'm going to do the thing that I get the most feedback for, basically. As well as the thing I want to do, I suppose. But yeah, that's the way Patreon has worked for me. But yeah, obviously the Patreon will be linked in the description if you're interested. But yeah, that's what Patreon's all about for me. Really, for me, Patreon was just there as a thing to add on. Because I'm on disability benefit. I can't work. I've got a video on my old channel. That's my everything channel, my vlog channel. This is just for BookTube. On my vlog channel, I've got a video describing what it's like to live with a disability. In fact, I've got a couple of videos, and it explains what my disability is and why I can't work, and what my disability benefit really means. It also means I'm on a fixed income, and with the cost of living crisis that's been happening in the UK, I have been massively struggling with money. I've been living off credit cards for the last year and a half, and I have racked up quite a bit of debt, which is not something I wanted to do. I never wanted to live off a credit card. Honestly, I never wanted to even have a credit card. I only got a credit card because I needed to build credit. Because I had so little credit, I wasn't able to do anything. Like, I couldn't even get a phone in my name because they wouldn't give me one because I didn't appear on credit reports. But I ended up getting a credit card, and slowly I ended up using it more and more, and then the credit limit got increased because I was using the card and paying it off, and then I was using it and not paying it off because I couldn't pay it off because the bills were going up. So Patreon has become that thing that I started relying on a little more than I'd hoped. I wasn't making a massive amount. Like, I believe it's never been more than £100 a month. Like, it's never been a huge amount. But it's enough. It's enough that it makes a difference. Like, £100 a month may not seem like much, but like that pays for like. Actually, I think it has been more than £100 a month a couple of times. I think it may have been like £100 and something a month, but it's never been huge money. Like it's never been enough to like pay my rent or anything like that. Not directly, but it has been enough to do things like pay my bills, like my electric bill, or pay for a cleaner to come in and clean because I can't clean below waist height because I can't bend at the knee without dislocating. That kind of thing. So Patreon's been useful for me, and it's nice to know that some people think that I offer something useful enough that it's worth giving me a little bit of cash. Like, it's worth throwing a bit of cash, instead of buying that sandwich you don't really want, or, why not throw it my way, I'm going to use it for something useful, it's going to keep my arse alive. I mean, if you really want, I can start doing stupid stuff on camera for you. If you want me to go nam 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 ice cream good, I can do that if you like. Seems to make loads of TikTokers loads of money. I don't think there's no one who wants that. Really? Please tell me there's no one who wants that. Anyone seriously wants that, you're disturbed. If you don't know what I'm referencing, by the way, you're lucky. You're lucky. You don't want to know. you really don't want to know. But if you don't know what I'm referencing, look up the TikTok NPC meme. Punish me later for it. Right, so next prompt. Prompt number 4. Have you made any mistakes on BookTube? Yeah, existing. Existing was a mistake on BookTube. Voicing opinions was a mistake on BookTube. Trying to make friends was a mistake on BookTube. BookTube is extremely fucking toxic. Yes, I've made mistakes on BookTube. I would like to try to make this channel a little bit more professional, make it more bookish related, make this actually book related tags, book reviews, book videos, and keep the videos that are only book adjacent for other channels. So that's something I want to do, because I think the biggest mistake I made, BookTube wise, was merging BookTube videos with other videos. That was a big mistake, because I got a load of subscribers that wanted to watch BookTube and only BookTube. And then I post other videos and they didn't care. They really didn't want to watch them. But then I posted D&D related videos at a time when D&D videos were really spiking and got thousands of views on those. But the people watching those videos had no interest in BookTube. So hence why I've now got different channels. Right? I'm rectifying that now. That, I think, was the biggest mistake I've made on BookTube. But other than that, the big mistake I made was assuming that I was allowed to have opinions without having backlash from entitled narcissists who believe that they can tell people what their opinions need to be. That was the other mistake I've had. Anyway, let's keep this upbeat. Let's not have a downer. Prompt number 5. Question number 5. Do you have any advice for new booktubers? Yes, I think I do. I've got a few pieces of advice. I would say the first piece of advice is don't worry about following trends and the algorithm and things like that. Be a trend setter, not a trend follower. Just read the books you're interested in and make videos about those books. Book reviews will not get very many views. No one gives a shit. For some reason, BookTube wants to see you buy 20 books and show the books that you bought to the camera, but doesn't actually care if you read them and tell people what you think. No one seems to care about that. They will care that you say what your top 10 favourite fantasy novels are, but if you pick a singular fantasy novel, read it and decide to discuss it in depth, no one will watch that. So be prepared that the more interesting, more thought-provoking, more difficult to make videos will actually perform worse. Your best performing videos will be the most consumerist, brain-dead, pathetic videos. It'll be, I bought a pile of books, here they are, and here's a pile of books I bought a long time ago and haven't read, I'm getting rid of them, known as an unhaul. What other? Reading logs. Reading logs are popular. Reviews are not. So if you read a book, finish it and discuss it in depth, that's not popular. But if you read 4 books, put all 4 of them up against the camera for a moment and vaguely talk about the cover and reference vague things from the storyline for all of about 3 minutes, that'll do really well. BookTube is an enigma. The people who claim they want to talk about books, they really don't. But yeah, honestly, the new advice I'd give to booktubers is don't expect to be popular. Don't expect to get loads and loads of views. BookTube isn't like that. You will probably struggle to get more than 1,000 subs. Subscribers are short coming. There's not that many people on BookTube that are going to be watching new channels. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of BookTube channels. The competition is massive. The watch base is tiny. So expect that you will struggle to get more than a few hundred views per video unless you suddenly blow up. And that's fine. I would try to focus on BookTube being social. Find 50 people that you get on with and have a relationship with them. And if you can do that, you're winning BookTube. That's the way BookTube tends to work. So yeah, that's my advice. The other piece of advice I'd have is decide now whether or not you're going to be really woke left-wing or politically neutral and refuse to mention anything political. Those are your only two options. If you're not one of those two, you will be persona non grata. People will respect if you say, I'm not being political and refuse to talk about politics. And if you're woke and left-wing, people will be fine with that. But if you're any other political persuasion of any kind, whether that's centrist, right-wing, anything on any kind of spectrum that isn't woke leftist, you will be deemed far-right extremist and not welcome. So decide how you want to approach and be consistent. If you decide that you're going to be a woke leftist, that probably means cutting people like me straight out of your life, because as soon as you see my name anywhere on your channel, you're not going to be welcome anywhere. So decide now whether or not you want to sell out, because if you're going to sell out, that's the nature of the channel. You might be able to get a bit more success that way, but it will cost you your soul. Next one. Question 6. What are your thoughts on the YouTube algorithm? Honestly, the YouTube algorithm is the biggest joke ever. The YouTube algorithm has got worse and worse and worse year on year, to the point where now you can't even search for things on YouTube. The search function doesn't work. Like, if you tried searching on YouTube, you get you type something in the search bar and you get sponsored result, relevant search result, bunch of shorts. Scroll. Something you watched yesterday, something you watched last week, some things that someone you're subscribed to watched. A load of shorts. Irrelevant things that have nothing to do with your search result, another relevant search result, some more sponsored shit, another row of shorts. That's basically how search results are. Maybe 25% of the stuff on each page might actually be connected to what you searched for in the first place. If they can't do search correctly, given that YouTube is owned by Google, what makes you think they can do an algorithm correctly? The algorithm is up in the air at this point, which ironically does mean this is possibly the best chance that you've got if you want to make a new YouTube channel to suddenly go viral, because new channels are just being thrown in people's recommendation feeds for no reason. You can be watching stuff and this channel, for example, is only subscribed to other booktubers, and I'll go onto the homepage and I'll have video game let's plays and ASMR videos and videos about food criticism and travel logs and tiny house videos and things like that. I've never watched this stuff, but it'll show up. For some reason, my booktube channel keeps getting videos about the Ukraine war constantly. Keeps recommending videos about the Ukraine war to my booktube channel. My video game channel keeps getting tiny house videos. My D&D channel keeps getting bikini try-on videos. Fashion channel bikini try-ons. I have no interest in this, and frankly I'm a little bit scared because a lot of these girls look way too young. I do not need that in my feed. This is a channel that I use to watch D&D videos and reviews of swords. It has nothing to do with bikinis. The closest thing I can think of that might have tricked the algorithm into thinking that might be interesting is I think I've watched a couple of videos on bikini chainmail. Criticisms of fantasy bikini chainmail. Maybe that's where the link has come in. I have no idea how video games link to tiny houses. The tiny house caravan things, where people try and live in a box that's the size of a shoebox with an egg cup on top. A house so small I couldn't stand up in it. I don't know where video games link to that. I'm trying to think how that could... I have no idea. And I don't know why BookTube is connected to the Ukraine war. Is it just recommending things in the news? Because that could be a thing. Because it is just current news. So, maybe. But if that's the case, it would be recommending other news, and it doesn't. I do have my main channel as well. what is now going to be my vlog channel. And that channel keeps getting recommended these weird sort of Reddit readout videos, where it's someone like reading stories from Reddit, and it's not even stories, it's just like Reddit posts. So it'll be like, I've clicked on one just to see what the hell it is. It's literally just like, it'll be video game footage, like video game gameplay, and it'll be a voiceover with subtitles, which are hilariously wrong most of the time. I don't just mean misspelled, I mean like, they have the wrong word, as if they're being put together by an AI. Where they just read out people's posts from Reddit. I don't know why I'm getting recommended that stuff. I'm not interested in AIs reading Reddit posts at me. So the YouTube algorithm doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. It doesn't try to make sense. It's just trying to make money. And it doesn't care how it makes money. It just wants you to stay on the platform. So it's going to recommend any old crap at you in a desperate attempt to keep you on the platform. And it doesn't seem to know what you want. It's just working off statistics. And that's why it's so easy to trick in weird ways. So it's why like channels like the Cynical Brit, I think it is, is it the Cynical Brit? Yeah, I think it is. Can do things like upload a 1-second video of pure black that becomes one of the most watched videos on YouTube Shorts through manipulating the way that it's promoted. Like, it's quite clever the way he plays around with those kinds of things. Anyway, let's move on. Question 7, which is in 2 parts. How do you decide what videos to make, and are you ever overwhelmed with video ideas? Yes, I am often overwhelmed with the sheer amount of video ideas I've got, and how many that I want to make, but I never seem to find the time to make. I've got so many videos I've wanted to make over the last couple of months I just didn't get around to because I wasn't feeling well. I didn't have the time. I broke the charger for this bloody camera. So now I can... Right, in order to charge this camera now, I have to plug it in to this power bank, which is currently on 12%. But to plug it into this power bank, I need to plug it in to this port with the tiny cable that comes out of the camera, which is only about 2 inches long. So I have to lie the camera and the power bank on a table next to each other, so I can't use the power bank for anything else. Which is frustrating. It also means I've got to lie the camera down in a very specific place in order to make sure it can charge. And I've got to charge the power bank before I can charge the camera. It's really, really annoying. But yeah, what was the question I was at? Oh yeah, overwhelmed for video ideas. So yeah, I do get overwhelmed for video ideas. The camera is a pain in the arse. I can record on my phone. I have been recording on my phone. That's worked. I got a little tripod, which is over by the computer. I got a little tripod so I can set it up and I can quickly record vlogs. The thing is, whilst that's not bad, this is only a 32 gig phone, and for some reason, everything records the internal memory, even though I've got a bloody SD card in it, nothing fucking uses it. Which means it's still stuck at 30 gig of the internal memory of 32 gig used, and I can't get it down past the 30 gig. It keeps filling up and keeps telling me that there's memory issues. I'm like, put everything on the SD card, put everything on the SD card, and it won't fucking do it. So annoying, so annoying. But it means that to record on this, I can only record like 10-15 minutes, then I've got to upload it straight away or delete it, because there's only enough space to record like 3 videos before the fucking thing starts complaining that I've filled up the memory. So that's not really usable. Like, I could not record this video, because this video's been going on for almost half an hour now. This would have filled the entire memory of this phone by now. And the phone will be screaming at me that it's going to crash or something. So the phone's not an option, because I can't record directly to the SD card, and I can't move half the apps to the SD card. It's not even got anything important on it. I don't know what the hell's filling all the bloody memory up. I don't even use it for anything. Like, I can't figure out what the hell 30 gig is filled. What is filling this 30 gig phone? Like, I've gone through and I've removed everything. Like, I don't have videos on the phone. I don't have a load of audio files. I haven't filled it with music or audiobooks. So what the hell's on here? Your guess is as good as mine. But how do I decide what videos to make then? I don't. I really don't. I have about 50 ideas running through my head all at one time, and the ADHD inside my head goes, that'd be a cool video, let's make that, 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 and basically whatever video idea is running through my head for the 10 seconds when I pick the camera up, that's the video I'm making. So this video was not the video I was planning to make an hour ago. I was planning on making a completely different video for a completely different channel. An hour before I started recording this video, I was planning on making a D&D role-playing related video for a different channel. And now I'm recording this because I watched a Booktube tag and I thought, you know what, I've not made a Bookish video in a long time, this tag looks interesting. So now I'm making this. That's how scatterbrained I can be. Yeah, I'm that level of organised. I'll probably still make that tabletop gaming video, but I might not make it tonight. It depends. Like, it's getting late now. It's almost 10:30. So maybe I'll make it tonight. Who knows? Remember, I've still got to edit these. So, 8. Have you regretted posting a video? No. No, I don't have regrets. I post videos, I just put them out there and they're sorted. Have I posted a video that I've looked back on and gone, it's not very good? Probably. I don't really give them that much thought, to be honest. I've got some videos out there I really like. I've got a couple of videos out there I don't much care about. For the most part, the videos that I've got up on my my main channel, I'm quite pleased with. And I think that the videos I intend to post on my now segmented channels, my Booktube, my gaming, and my tabletop channels, are going to actually be much higher quality. I've got good ideas, and I've got a good framework for how I'm going to decide what videos go up. So I don't think I'm going to have any issues there. I've never regretted uploading a video. I have taken videos down because I've thought they're not relevant anymore, and they're not interesting, they're not linked to anything, or they were a response to a video that's not been online for more than a year or something. The original video's down, so my response makes no sense. So I've done that kind of thing. But yeah. I don't really regret anything though. Question 9. Let's have a little look. Question 9. Are the number of views, subscribers meaningful to you? And are the number of views and subscribers a measure of success? Well, yes and yes. The number of views and subscribers are of course meaningful. If the number of views and subscribers weren't meaningful, I wouldn't post it to YouTube. If getting views and getting subscribers meant nothing, then I would record it, I would put it on a hard drive, and I'd leave it there. Because it doesn't matter if other people watch it if I was just doing this for my own sake. I want people to view my videos. I want people to subscribe to my channel and watch more of my videos. Is it a measure of success? Of course it is. This is a social video. Like, this is a social media site. The more people who watch your video on a social media site, the more successful that video is at being a social media video. That is literally a mark of success. But, is it the only mark of success? No. Just being popular isn't good enough. Being popular is nice, but what would you rather have? A video with 100 views, of which 50 of them watched the entire video and 20 of them left a thoughtful comment, or a video with 100,000 views with only 2 comments, both of which were mean? I think you'd rather have the former, wouldn't you? Because the latter, yeah, loads of people watched it, but you look back and you find that of those 100,000 views, 92,000 views stopped watching in the first minute. And of the remaining 8,000, most of them stopped watching before the halfway mark. which means no one actually gives a shit what you've got to say. You just got served by the algorithm a lot. I'd much rather have a small number of people actually watching me than a lot of people clicking on my video. And that, I think, is a big difference, because if you're actually watching me, you're engaging with me. You don't have to be leaving a comment, but maybe you are. Like, I don't want to be in a parasocial relationship. I don't want to be an influencer. God forbid I don't want to be an influencer. I say way too many stupid things without thinking. This thing is not connected to my brain directly. Like, this thing is connected to a skip somewhere and just spews rubbish occasionally. Like, I'll say stupid things, like, I regularly call trans people trannies just to annoy them. I regularly say the word nigger just to see if I can get a rise out of people. Like, this is the kind of thing that I'll do. I've just done it now in this video, just to see if you'll react. I want to see if anyone's going to post a comment here now, just to see if you're going to react. And I know there are people who are upset. I know there are people who are upset right now that I've just done that. Grow up. I'm making a point. If you don't understand that I'm making a point, my God, you need to get off the internet. It's not transphobic to say the word tranny in a joke. Especially when the joke is not meant without any malice. It is not racism to say the word nigger when you're not directing it at a black person, and you're saying it in order to make a point about language, and in order to make a joke about yourself having your mouth connected to a skip and not thinking about how you use language. The whole point of what I'm saying is that language can be used in so many stupid ways, and I could be misquoted in so many stupid ways. I'd hate to be this big influencer. I'd hate to have to watch what I'd say. I'd hate for someone to be able to dig through tweets I made from 10 years ago and go, look what he said, and suddenly I'd have 1 million people down my throat. My God, no, I don't care. I'm approaching 40 and I don't give a shit what the vast majority of the planet thinks about the vast majority of things, because most of you fuckers are morons. And I include in that past me. Past me was a moron as well. Like, the few of you watching right now, the ones that didn't switch off when I said words that, the internet has decided, means that you should be hung, drawn and quartered, you're the smart ones, because you haven't been offended by, weird sounds in your ears. So, God, no. I could never, ever have a huge subscriber count. That would be disaster. Right. But I'd like to have a reasonable amount of subscribers. I'd like to be popular enough that I'd be able to have a good conversation. That my Guilded server was always active and abuzz with conversations. That'd be nice. If there was always like 200 people chatting away, and I could log on every day and always find a bookish conversation and a conversation about video games and a conversation about D&D and just join in as and when I chose, that'd be lovely. That'd be cool. But maybe that's asking too much. Right. Maybe if I got to a couple of dozen thousand, like maybe if I hit like the silver play button level of subscribers, like the 100,000 level, maybe that would be manageable, because that's at the level where I'd be able to have enough people watching that I'd have a genuine community there with loads and loads of people, like communities within communities. There'd be enough people that I'd have a bookish group. I'd have like the gaming group, I'd have the D&D group, I'd have loads of different people chatting away and doing their own thing. I'd be able to always find people to do read-alongs with. I'd always be able to find a D&D game. I'd maybe be able to get enough people supporting my Patreon that I wouldn't have to rely on benefits, and I wouldn't be so beholden to a welfare system. That'd be lovely. Those are the kind of things I'd like. That would be how I would mark success. Now, if I only ever get, like, at the moment my vlog channel's at like 1,417 subscribers. It did get up to over 1,500, but I've been slowly losing subscribers over the last couple of weeks. I think, because I've not had any like backlash or anything like that. I've not posted anything that would annoy anyone. I think it's just like old dead channels from years ago are being slowly like unsubscribed from me. I think YouTube might be doing a bit of a purge, because no one said unsubscribe, I hate you, blah. And I've not said anything even remotely controversial. Maybe people have just noticed I didn't post a video for a couple of weeks and went, oh, he stopped posting and unsubscribed. That could have happened. But I doubt it, because I'm a small channel. People probably press subscribe and forgot about it for, however long. We'll never know, really. Anyway, at the moment I'm at between 1,400 and 1,500 subscribers, around there, on my vlog channel. This channel has 0 subscribers as I'm making this, because there's no videos on it. We'll see how many subscribers move over. That'll actually be a good metric for how many Bookish people actually watch that channel. We'll find out now it's like 10. We'll find out it's really, really low, and that'll be really depressingly low. That'd be really quite a culture shock when you find out that of the 1,400 subscribers, 7 of them are actually real people. That would be really upsetting. But I'd get over it. But yeah, when it everything settles, I'll know how many people are actually watching, and if it turns out I've only got a few hundred people watching, so long as they're actually watching, I'll be happy. That's all that really matters. So yeah. Next question, 10. Are you disappointed with the growth on your channel? Yes and no. Yes, I'm a little disappointed in that I was hoping that more people would subscribe, more people would watch, more people would join Gilded, and I'd have bigger chats, more things happening. My community shrunk when I left Discord. I had a much larger community. There was, read-alongs and things happening, and it shrunk down. It's now mainly just a group of D&D players and the occasional game discussion, the occasional book discussion, and that community shrunk right down. And I'd like to build it back up again. Now, did it shrink because I stopped talking about bookish content? Maybe. Maybe it was my fault it shrunk. Am I disappointed by that? Of course I am. Like I say, I'd love to have that constant buzz on Gilded where there's a few hundred people always chatting and there's always a conversation you can join in with. That would be lovely. But is that something that keeps me up at night? Not really. If I really, really wanted to build my channel really quickly, I know what I'd need to do it. I could make the exact right kind of video to suddenly skyrocket the channel. I know the kind of videos I'd need to make. I've explained the kind of videos that do well on Booktube. I could make a very popular Booktube channel, and it would make a reasonable, good wave. I don't make it because it wouldn't be me. It would be a lie. It would be fake. But I could make that fake channel, and I could also probably fill it with a lot of fake reviews as well, because I know enough about enough books. I could pretend I've read them, and give vague 5-minute reviews for 50 different books, upload them all, and just wait for passive views to come in. I could do that. I could be popular on Booktube if I wanted to be popular. I don't. I want to be genuine. So I'll wait for it to happen naturally. And if it doesn't happen for me, it doesn't happen. Oh well. 11. Have you thought about quitting Booktube? Kind of, but kind of no. Have I thought about quitting Booktube specifically? Yes. I took a step away from Booktube. I literally said leaving Booktube was a title of one of my videos, where I took a step back from Booktube and went, you know what, this channel's an everything channel. It's not a Booktube channel, because I don't want to be pegged in with Booktube, because Booktube is getting toxic and very, very political. But my channel existed way, way before Booktube was a thing for me. I've been making I've been making YouTube videos for about a decade. Now most of them are not online because most of them were kind of crap. So I did a purge of my channel, my early videos, because they were early vlogs and they were honestly kind of rambly and not worth the watch, in my opinion. Maybe I was wrong, but I don't think that they're all that worthwhile. I may put some of them back up on as a reflections video one of these days. But that old channel, that's been around for a long, long time. And Booktube was just a new thing for me. So when I found that it was starting to get politically difficult, it was starting to get backlash. I thought, you know what, I'm taking a step back from this. I've got other things I can talk about. And that's when I started making D&D videos and gaming related videos and diversifying the channel, because I felt Booktube was becoming hostile. I still want to make bookish videos though. I'm still interested in booktube. I'm still interested in books, and I'm still interested in fantasy and sci-fi and horror. And I want to talk about literature. Literature is still something that interests me. So I'm here, and I've got a booktube channel, and this is a dedicated booktube channel now. And I'm not going anywhere. I've got other outlets now. So if booktube starts getting annoying, I can stop making a video for a few days and go over to a different channel and make a video there. So yeah, I don't need to worry about it anymore. That's cool as far as I'm concerned. Question 12. What are the most touching comments and what are the most negative comments? Okay, so I'd say the most touching comments are the number of people who, when I've made very controversial or very opinionated videos, like when I've made videos, calling out booktube on its political extremism and things like that, when I've said that there aren't voices out there, when I've criticised the wider booktube community for being so anti-J.K. Rowling, things like that. When I've got responses back from people who have said, thank you for saying this, I've been thinking this and I felt alone. And I'm glad someone finally said it. I've received dozens of comments like that. And it's really nice to get that kind of comment, even if it is rare. I've received quite a few comments like that. And it's that kind of comment that makes me feel like I want to keep going, because I know that there are people who share my outlook, that share my perspective, and that want to see their voice projected forwards. What are the negative comments? The same comments you always get. I routinely, on an almost daily basis, get accused of being both a Nazi and get accused of being a communist by various different people. I've been told that I'm a woke liberal and a far-right neo-Nazi repeatedly. I'm accused of being, I'm regularly called out as a Trump supporter. If you hadn't noticed by the accent, I'm not American. I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't vote in American elections. I'm British. I don't give a crap who your president is. But yeah, I'm regularly called out as a Trump supporter, apparently, because apparently, this screams Trump supporter. I don't know why. I have regularly said that I am left of centre and support a whole range of things that Donald Trump openly doesn't support. So yeah, apparently that makes me clearly his best mate. But yeah, I get all of that kind of stuff. It's usually people just trying to peg me down as something that is easy for them to hate, so then they can pile on all of their associated rubbish. Those comments are easy to ignore, and I don't care. You can call me every ism and ist that you want. It doesn't make any difference. The touching comments, the ones that matter, are usually paragraph after paragraph of well thought out comment. The negative comments are usually a sentence of dribble by someone with the IQ of a squashed apricot. So I don't tend to care. I quite like my comments. My comment section's been really good. 13. In regards to booktube, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, obviously I see myself as the king of booktube. Clearly, I'm going to be the king of booktube, aren't I? I'm going to be in charge of everything. I'm going to have a massive channel with 450,000 subscribers. I'm going to have a huge sponsorship deal from Amazon, even though I bash them in every single video. And I'm going to be raking it in millions. I'm going to be sitting on a golden sofa. Obviously, right? No, of course not. In 5 years' time, assuming that I'm, still alive and I haven't somehow popped my clogs by, massive heart attack being hit by a bus, I suspect I'll be sitting here in possibly not this house, but sitting in a similar manner on a similar sofa, possibly the same sofa, talking about books and ranting about how booktube is still annoyingly left wing, and talking about how fantasy doesn't account for magic systems properly, and convoluted hero plots and things like that. Talking about how if this spell really worked the way it would change the entire world. So if they really had a spell that enabled them to do this, then this would fundamentally change the entire world. Making that kind of video. I see myself doing that because that's what I'm doing now, and that's what I was doing 10 years ago, and that's kind of what I was doing when I was a teenager when I first went to uni, because that's kind of what I am. I'm a critical, geeky guy who cares about fantasy and sci-fi. I don't foresee that changing. I'm almost 40. I'm still going to be like that in my 50s. So yeah, I think that's that. It's just been fun. I look forward to making more bookish content, and I want to be making more videos in general. In fact, I'll be back in just a sec. Okay. In fact, this World War Z. Yes, it's World War Z. I don't care. I'm pronouncing it that way. Right. I'm going to be reading this next. It's not a particularly long book, but this is going to be my next read. I've been meaning to read this for a good few weeks now. I keep meaning to read it, and I keep putting it off. This is my next read. So I'm going to start reading this. My next video is going to be an update on what my thoughts are on this book, because I'm going to sit and read this tonight. So, I'll see you guys next time. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope this is fun. Hopefully you enjoy the new Booktube channel. You consider subscribing. Let me know how many actual Booktube or Bookish fans actually care about listening to me rabble on about books. We'll see how far this experiment goes, and I'll see you next time. You'll see a whole list of people who were supporting me on Patreon and Gilded. So thank you to those people, because they really do make sure that these channels are worth making for me, because that they give me not just financial backing, because the finances are not that important really, but it's the support, the knowledge that they care, the knowledge that they support, and they're prepared to help me out. Because, like I say, I know I'm struggling financially, and it's not something that I want to spread around the internet, but I'm going to be honest, because it doesn't benefit me to lie and pretend I'm not. But knowing that there's people out there that give a shit, it really does help. Knowing there's people that value what I'm doing, that get some enjoyment out of my videos, or enjoy playing in my role-playing games, or just like to debate politics on my Gilded server, whatever it is that you decide you want to support, whatever reason it is that you decide you want to throw a couple of quid on Patreon, or press the support button on Gilded, I appreciate you all the same. So thank you to all of you people. You really do make a difference. So, see you guys next time. I'm going to give World War Z a read, and I'll let you know what I think. See you later. Bye.